Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Am I audible? Can you guys hear me?
Hello, everyone.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome so much to our webinar. My name is Perez Omondi, and I'm going to be today's moderator. So, whatever we are talking about today is one very important aspect in our day-to-day life because as we relate, as we communicate, as we use our phones and devices, we usually come across um, cases of just online cases that come along with using phones, laptops, or any other device. And so today we are going to talk about the long-term effects of not using the internet safely. Yes, karibuni sana to our live, and I am looking forward to have a good engagement with you all. So we're going to have two speakers today. Our first speaker is called Abigail Chepngetich, and we have Benedict Godana. They are going to be the ones who are going to take us through this topic today as we keep on interacting. Yeah, so on to the first speaker. You're just going to share with us who you are and if you've ever come across cases of internet safety, or rather, what's your definition of being safe when using the internet before we can proceed. So we start with Benedict. Her interaction, or rather, personal experience when using the internet, and maybe the importance of being safe while using the internet.
All right. Thank you very much, Perez. So I hope y'all can hear me. As Perez has said, my name is Abigail Chepngetich. I am a robotics trainer at Tech Kids Africa, and we are here today to talk about the long-term effects of unsafe practices around the internet. So I think if I got your question correct, or what I'm supposed to talk about is it my understanding of internet safety or any personal experience around unsafe practices of the internet? Well, in my experience in the little time I've been here on Earth, there are several unsafe practices of the internet. Some that have, some that we know of, some that we don't know of. There are some that we subconsciously do. There are some that um, we outright know we cannot do. Yeah, and sometimes we fall prey to them. I think one very common one before we became woke was there were certain instances where I believe most of the people who are hearing can relate, where you find someone has sent you an M-Pesa message of a very large amount of money, and then after like a few minutes, the same number calls you and tells you, nimekutumia pesa by mistake aki, hiyo pesa ilikuwa ya ABCD ABCD. And then because you did not check to see kwa hii pesa imetoka kwa a number and not the actual M-Pesa, most people have fallen prey to such instances. And I think when these people realized tumeanza kuwajua, they they moved forward now to having, I think the most common one nowadays is hiyo ya calculator, where a certain number sends nini to you, and sends a message to you, and then they say, hi mom, calculator imefanya sijui nini, I need you to send me money for that, I'm texting you through a certain number. Yeah, and sometimes we fall prey to them. We don't go through the procedures of counter checking before we act on certain instances where we are being preyed on the internet. So I believe we're going to have a nice discussion around the same, on how we can maybe how we can even identify some of these practices that we may be doing without our knowledge, or those that we may be doing but hata hatujui ziko na majina. Yeah, and also now talk about the long-term effects and even see how we can at least protect ourselves against the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. It was so informative, and I'm going to pass it on to Benedict. Briefly tell us what you get to understand by the term internet safety. In case you have any personal experience, please feel free to share with our viewers. Yeah, and let's learn together. So, on to you, Benedict.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're very audible.
Okay, nice. Okay. Sorry. Okay. My name is Benedict Kodana. I'm a software developer at Strathmore University. Okay. What I understand about internet safety. Okay. I feel like the practices or measures taken to um, either protect personal information or online accounts as we continuously interact with. I can remember, yeah. Not me. I haven't really experienced such a thing, but I think my mom received the other day. My mom received a text from her pastor, and and uh, and she was asked to send some amount, of which she sent. Later on, she realized that her pastor was hacked into, and the guy who had hacked was the one who was actually asking for the money. So you see, the guy ended up I mean, receiving some cash from a number of people. Um, so it was a security issue. That means it's not just her. There's been a lot of incidents that involve people hacking into other people's devices and using them for for malicious reasons. Um, yeah. So that's one of the many examples. Yes.
Thank you so much, Benedict. And when we talk about internet safety, with the experiences that the two of you have shared with us, I think there are always the steps, or rather, the things that result to these. Maybe the some of the things that we do not do to stay safe when using the internet. I mean, while using your phone, there are those things that you have not done to secure your phone, such as having passwords, um, not clicking to links, and all that and all that. So now, we are going to talk about the long-term effects of maybe not using the internet safely. That includes not taking the appropriate measures to stay safe when using the internet. And so now we have we have psychological and emotional effects of not using the internet safely. We have also social and relational effects, and we have professional and economic effects. And so, to Abigail, you're going to talk to us about some of the social and relational effects of not using the internet safely. I mean, when I say that, uh, how does lack of internet safety impact our ability to build and just maintain healthy relationships between uh, online, both online and offline?
Thank you, Perez. I think I'll start with a story as well about not myself, but a friend of mine who felt free to this. Actually, the specific friend of mine uh, was catfished. So what happened? For those that don't know what catfishing is when a person comes with a fake online identity. They pretend to be someone else, and then they lure you into whatever has led them to have the fake identity, and they lure you in. So a friend of mine um, was was in a relationship with a certain person, and then the relationship ended. So there's a certain service that I'm sorry about that. There was the specific friend of mine is very skilled at a certain service. So the other person created an Instagram account, pretending to be offering the same service, and went ahead to now text my friend, and the person pretended to be this fake identity that he had created on Instagram, and they had communication for a while until later on my friend realized, haya, kumbe this is my ex that was pretending to be this certain service provider. Because so what pattern that we see with this person that was catfishing, most of the time the people that catfish know you, so they will know the specific thing that they're going to bait you with, because they will know, because they will know it will interest you. uh, so that's why this person came with a certain service that my friend is good at. So if this person comes with this service, it's definitely going to bait my friend into coming, because, oh, I know this service, I also offer the same, maybe we can be friends, maybe we can link up, maybe we can talk. And what that led to, it led to a broken trust, now between, well, the trust was already broken, now it became worse. So now, there is now a constant anxiety every time someone comes in and uh, maybe follows them on Instagram or something around those lines. So you would find that um, there is broken trust and a lot of anxiety that may come around such instances. Another another effect, I would say, maybe for those that have been cyberbullied, especially if the person is underage. Most of the time, there is a way I think kids don't know how to really deal with bullying if they have not come from a place where they have been reassured that they can talk about their problems, they can talk about what's affecting them. So in cyberbullying, you would find a lot of people would retreat, um, maybe from social settings. Some would withdraw to depression, and some even in extreme cases they may kill themselves. And also there is also a lot of shame that may surround cyberbullying as well, because most of the sometimes you'd find maybe personal information would be shared on the internet concerning a certain person, and there would be a lot of shame concerning that. Sometimes the information is real, sometimes the information is falsified. But whichever the case, you would find that there is a lot of shame that surrounds that. So I think those are some of the effects that I would say would come with that.
Thank you so much, Abigail. That was so informative. And maybe as we progress, Abby, you could also talk to us about the long term consequences of online scams, because I believe some of our viewers and maybe just anyone in this live has come across it. The online scams, such as the example you had given us about the messages about sending money, or rather just fake sites. And also, you could talk to us about the long term consequences of identity theft. Yeah.
All right, thank you. That came back to me really quick. So the long-term effects of online scams. Let me start with also a story again. Now this one involves me. There was a time in 2023. I fell for a certain Ponzi scheme, and I knew how Ponzi schemes work. I knew how these online scammers go about the Ponzi scheme, but I don't know, for some reason I think I thought maybe this one was different. And another thing that made me go into it despite knowing how they work was the person that introduced me to it was a trusted person, someone I felt like huyo hawezi ingia kwa a scam. So it gave me more confidence to enter into that. So what happened? We were into the Ponzi scheme. Okay, for those that don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, a Ponzi scheme is so you come nakumbuka something about bold cashers, something about brand influence, where someone you pull in a lot of money, and then you're supposed to be getting a certain amount every day when you do a certain task, or when you generate a money generating machine, something along those lines. So the mentality uh, behind the Ponzi schemes is, we would have initial investors. They would put in the money. When they put in the money, um, we will give them the daily spend. So when outside people will see these initial investors, wataona, hii kitu ni legit, more people come. When more people come, outside people also see these people, wanaona, this thing might be legit. More people come, more people come, as they invest, as the even amount to be invested continues increasing, as the trust that they are building in people increases. So when it reaches a certain amount or a certain period of time where they feel like they have gathered all the necessary, all the money maybe they were going for, suddenly it shuts down. Now utapata people would have invested 15,000, 20,000, 300,000. Yeah, it's crazy. So I ended up losing a lot of money in that scheme, and I had also talked to a lot of people to join me, so they also lost a lot of money. Uh, so I think that is one, the first one. You'll end up losing a lot of money. Well, not even a lot of money. You'll end up losing money. So whichever the amount, like the first example that I talked about in the introduction, your calculator, yeah, oh, mini calculator, or I've sent you some money that was not supposed to be sent to you. I've been sending money to you from World War, Remit or something. If you fall prey to that, you're going to lose a lot of money. Also, for people that are involved in fraud, they would also end up losing a lot of money. If they are incriminated in it, whether falsified or in real time, some may even lose their jobs. Some may go to prison. Uh, yeah, some may go to prison. I think another effect would be uh, maybe something also around identity theft. But not. It depends now with how skilled the scammer is, because some would have to pretend to be somebody else for them to get the information that they're getting from you. Yeah, I think those are the effects that I would see would result.
Thank you so much. To Benedict, maybe you could talk to us about, or rather, you could advise. Maybe there's a parent who is watching this, or rather in this live. How do you think parents and just other educators can address long-term social and relational effects that come up with not using the internet safe among teens and just children?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes, we can
thank
hear
you
you.
so much. Okay, thank you so much. Uh, okay, that's our next question. So educators and parents, they can play a very major role when it comes to teaching their students or their children about being responsible while using internet. So I'm not quite so sure if digital literacy is really given. I mean, is really given the necessary attention, because a lot of people uh, are caught unaware sometimes, because they haven't gotten, I mean, this exposure to internet and how to use it safely. So if schools and maybe, of course, it's happening in universities, but you, as you understand, some of the schools in Kenya don't have an access to digital literacy courses. So if I mean, the educators and parents are able to integrate digital literacy courses to teach, I mean, to teach their students about online safety and privacy, and maybe an ethical maybe internet use, it will avoid such situations where students or kids get themselves in such a situation. So and then um, okay, another thing that the educators or parents can do is to to teach students to actually verify the sources. I mean, the sources of the information they get. For example, if I'd say not so long ago, we've had a lot of misinformation, and people have been sharing information that are not, I mean, verified, and this has created some confusion. So if they teach the students to, for example, to verify the source of where this information comes in, then we'll avoid that issue of like misinforming people about such a situation. For example, if they conduct they conduct maybe a student awareness week to educate students on how to actually get to know where this information has come from before they actually expose it to people. Because nowadays you get told something and without even verifying, you share it. And once you share it online, it goes viral. And once it goes viral, it's a misinformation. Then eventually some people might be misled or do something that they're not intended to do because based on the information they've got. And then the other one is about, I think, digital footprints. Yeah. So we actually there's something that I learned last year while I was doing some a certain cybersecurity course. Just like a simple thing, like just taking a selfie, just like with that with just a selfie, you're exposing a lot of data to hackers actually with just a selfie, and so and then once you take a selfie and then you share, there's that metadata. A person can know when was this image taken, uh, and then they can as well tell your location based on the time that, I mean, based on the, I think we have the GPS locator. So they can tell where you've taken it, and then plus the background. So people, I mean, people or students should be educated uh, the amount of information they share, because in most cases we share informations. I mean we share information without knowing or without knowing how this information is going to be used. So if now we post an image and if this hacker has got like some fishy stuff that he wants to do to you, then they will be able to access that image, and through that image, it can tell them your location based on what time you've taken it, and in case if they have to share that data to a third person, I mean, or a third party who was supposed maybe to, now if you get the issues of abductions and all this stuff, because most of them, for example, you've shared a photo or something, and so they know you are the exact place you are, and this makes them. I mean, this make them easier. I mean, it makes it easier for them to actually locate you and get you. So parents, educators have a I mean, the responsibility of telling their students and kids on what to share and what not to share to the public. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Benedict. That was so informative. And maybe to add on that, I think also when our children, or rather when teens are being educated in schools about how to stay safe when using the internet, I think another way is maybe we could incorporate the walks in schools, and rather, or maybe I'd say we could be if there are schools that have specific days for internet safety, and they ensure that on those days the learners are able to be educated about online safety, about how to stay safe on the internet, about just the consequences, or rather the risks that come about with not staying safe on the internet. So this is something that I believe should be practiced in most schools, and it's something that teachers, or rather parents, should bring it up in schools and even at home. Just have days when you talk to your child about the risks that come about with not using the internet safely. And for me, I think I'd advise, or rather, I see it good or fit if um, small children just stay away from phones or just devices that may expose them to the risks. Yeah, but for the teens, they just need to be, um, awareness needs to be created for them so that they're not so much exposed to all these. So thank you so much for that. And as we continue, that we have talked about the social and the relational effects of not using the internet safely, and these are some of the long-term effects that come about with this. So I'd love us to talk about the psychological and the emotional effects, long-term effects of not using the internet safely. And so for this, I'd just love both of you to chip into it. What do you think the long term effects of addiction and excessive screen time on your mental well being, and especially for the younger generations, because for the people who are older enough, I believe they have got the exposure and they have the knowledge, but there's still this generation that doesn't know how to go about staying safe when using the internet. So maybe you could talk about the long term effects of online addiction and excessive screen time on mental well-being, especially for the younger generations. So we could start with Abigail.
All right, thank you, Perez. Um, I think I'd want to just write down something small that Benedict said about um something as small as a selfie can give out so much information about you. I didn't know about that. Anyway, so if I got your question right, you are asking something about the how it affects us mentally. So for I think one way, especially that now I'm currently a victim of is um, sleep sleep disorder. Maybe sometimes when I get to TikTok, you start scrolling. Um, kidogo kidogo, it's way late in the night, and without proper discipline, you will end up really disrupting your sleeping pattern, because the following day, for those that are still in school, you'd have to go to classes. For those that are working, you'd have to come to work in the morning. Yeah, and I hear there is also a mental health connotation to that as well. Also, following my first example of the friend of mine who was catfished, there was anxiety around that. So there is anxiety and stress that may result. Another thing that may also come about that is maybe for people that are being cyberbullied, or people that are being maybe body shamed. It can really lower someone's self-esteem. It can make you feel a certain way about yourself, based on probably what people are saying about you. Recently, I was talking with a few friends of mine here at work, where we were seeing how the amount of cyberbullying that is in Kenya is is over the top, and we take so much humor from the cyberbullying that goes on, and we laugh about it and all of that. But there was one time, our former president Uhuru Kenyatta yet to delete his X account, Twitter at that time now, because the shade and the hatred that was going on there became too much for him at a certain point, and that was like the head of state whose online platform goes through several managers before the information even gets to him. So how about like me, a person, kama a 13-year-old who faces cyberbullying on the internet, and several other instances. I know we may know one or two people who have had to maybe clear their social media handles because it became too much. It became too much for them. And I also think another thing would be some people may become desensitized, and I have a lot of examples. There is also another small boy I was talking to last week. Uh, alikuwa tu ananipigia story, so he was talking about how the first time he watched a horror movie, he really cried. But right now, it doesn't phase him at all when he looks at even videos on the internet of people being dismembered, or any physical harm to the body. It doesn't phase him anymore, because I think of the repeated exposure to such content. And yeah, well, some people may dispute this, but yeah, I think it brings some sort of um, it kind of numbs that human part of you that shows empathy for such kind of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. To Benedict, could you please tell us, talk to us on your end?
Uh, for me, I'll take my personal experience. Uh, so as a dev, I've been spending a lot of time, hours actually coding and sometimes researching and working on projects. And I've realized how this excess screen time um, has really affected my mental and maybe physical health, because sometimes I normally put uh, like 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 some goals to achieve, or maybe in terms of physical health, and then once I sit on the screen, and that's it. I keep on pushing to the next day. So I think with this spending more time on screen and everything, has constantly brought in like the mental burnt out and reduced like focus. Focusing sometimes becomes difficult, yeah, by something that I'm actually working on. And then sleeping has been an issue. I I it, I get like it gets hard for me to to sleep or to get a sleep. And sometimes stress, because now I'm trying to do what is the work-life balance. Yeah, because already my work-life balance is already disrupted. So I'm trying to find the balance. So now I imagine if this is me, and how about the young kid, child, or a student. To them, I feel like it's something way bigger than me. So for what I see for students, I think it becomes much difficult that is when they spend more time in screen. It takes away their focus. Yeah, I I have a cousin, and every time they know every time her mom every time she is with her mom, they give him a tablet to watch. And sometimes if they want to feed her, if they want to feed her, they have to switch on like to a Cartoon Network so that she watches as she eats. So sometimes she even uh, refuses to eat, yeah, because she's so much focused into the cartoons. And this is just one case. We have a number of people, a number of kids who are experiencing the same thing. I feel like there's no focus with spending much time to the screen. I think, and this as well affects the academic, performances, because now they don't pay much attention to their studies, because now they have like something that is taking away their focus. And then plus I feel like sleep disorders as well, uh, because some of them even spend like uh, they end up even sleeping maybe at 3 a.m. while everyone is sleeping, because they are watching whatever programs they've been introduced to, and taking that advice from them is just a disaster. You can't actually. Then there is that social withdrawal. So that means instead of them going outside to go play with their fellow kids, they end up spending that time in watching or on their screens, of which this results to the loss of interest in the face-to-face conversations sometimes, and which is very important to kids uh, as far as growth is involved. And plus mood swings, for example, or if you take that device from them, how they react after is something different. It's totally different from how they reacted when you gave them uh, the the device. So I feel like parents have have a the responsibility of enforcing screen limits and encouraging maybe the outdoor activities, and as well rediscover some hobbies that uh, might make this might make these kids quite engageful. Yeah, and definitely at the end it will as well boost their mental health as well, and they become more social. Yes.
Thank you so much. You've touched on something very important about some kids being given tablets or phones for maybe to just engage them for them to be able to eat or rather do something. So for a parent who this has been their norm, or rather, this is what they usually do, and now you find that the child or rather the teen, they have been so much invested into having long hours of time. So how would you like what would you tell someone who spends a lot of time on phone or rather on their computer and probably not doing something constructive? Like for you, you have mentioned that you are a software engineer or a developer, and I believe most of the time you spend on your phone or rather on your screen, you use it meaningfully. So, what would you tell somebody who doesn't know how to regulate their screen time? Someone who, like, it's always them and their phones, or rather, them and their laptops all the time, even if there's nothing really constructive that they are doing. What would you tell such a person, or rather, a parent probably who is in this live and is listening to us? How would you advise them to regulate screen time for their children or rather teens?
Okay. Thank you so much. Uh, okay. That's such an interesting question. Uh, as I've mentioned earlier on the parents, what they actually have to do to their kids is they can set some screen limits, or for example, or identify a time that now from this time to this time you'll be engaged. Maybe you'll be you'll be going outside, maybe interacting with people, and now this is now at this point you're not supposed to use your screen or your tablet or doing anything, so that at least to boost that one-on-one conversation, and as well bring in the aspect of socializing with other people. And then they think, okay, if, if I take an example of myself, what I normally do, sometimes uh, not at all times, but sometimes I normally do some outdoor activities. Like for a day, I might even go for hiking, you see, and that day I won't even touch my laptop or do anything related to IT stuff. So what I can advise is the parents is to encourage the outdoor activities and hobbies, so that they bring about the balance between the screen time and the outside life. Uh, and for see, the more you spend your time on screen, uh, there's a high possibility of you having some like eye issues. So with that, you can as well try to uh, have like the blue light filters or something uh, that won't really have such a very big effect on your eyes, and plus telling them to take like frequent breaks for the guys who are working, or for the kids to like give them frequent breaks away from the screen, so that at least they get to walk or do something else that's not, that is not related to do with the screen. And then for the kids, they have to be monitored. They really have to be monitored. They have to. There's a time I paid a visit at a friend, and I don't know, but there was no. I felt like there was no that parental guidance thing, because the words that this kid was speaking were like, I don't know how I should put them, but they were not good words actually for a kid. I mean, for a child of, I mean, her age. So, so I feel like parents should as well monitor the content which they expose these kids to. For example, if they are cartoons, sometimes there are other cartoons that are not so good for kids. Such cartoons, I mean, such programs have to be monitored. Or if so, there's a time I was as well teaching some other kids, and I realized, yep, everyone had a phone, but there's some sites that these kids could not like access them until they get an approval from their parents. I feel like the advisors have to be monitored, and you have to monitor which site they're visiting. At the end of the day, you have to have a report of which site have these guys visited. And as you know, what we have, the browsers, they normally, I mean, keep the footprints of whatever that you're doing. So they should constantly be going through the browser history and see what are these kids, I mean, what are they browsing? And so that through that, it will inform you or it will inform a parent on what content are these kids, I mean, their kids are consuming. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I believe um, monitoring them would, I think, really be the best actually, so as to just have a report of or a track of whatever they do. That is a good one. So I don't know if Abigail has something to add on. Maybe she could also talk.
Okay, thank you, Perez. I hope I'm audible. My media director told me earlier on hamkuwa mnanisikia vizuri, so I hope I'm audible right now. Aha. So I think most of the things have been touched on by Benedict, and also what you've also reiterated, Perez. Um, I think for us growing up, we had, most of us probably had this specific time limit where we would have access to phones. Maybe you'd be told, ukimaliza form 4 ndio tutakupea simu, or we are told just before you get to campus is when we'll get your phone. Like those are maybe most of the patterns of the parents of people my age would have such restrictions. But I know we all of us probably had a Facebook account or an Instagram account way before we were legally allowed to have phones by our parents. So that kind of restriction really doesn't work. It didn't work on us, and it definitely will not work on the generation that is coming after us. Just to stress on the points that Benedict has mentioned about monitoring them. I have seen that working with a parent friend of mine who monitors what the kids do. They have a specific limit of uh, screen time ends at this specific time, so that that kind of freedom, it's not freedom per se, but the kids will feel like you've given them freedom to be able to access the phones. And the time limits will automatically be respected, because they won't feel like you are pressuring them, or you are hiding some stuff away from them. Yeah, so I think most of the things have been mentioned by Benedict.
Nice. Thank you so much, Abigail, for that. And now, recently we've had cases of if it's not recently, but we've ever had cases of people harming themselves, or rather somebody dying because of depression, or mtu akishakufa ndo baadaye you hear, oh, the guy was isolated, the guy had no friends, the guy was depressed. So I believe all these things have some relationship with also online harassment, and just there are also consequences of this. So maybe you could talk to us about the link between the real world consequences such as depression, social isolation, self harm, and online harassment. Like, how does online harassment link with somebody being depressed, somebody feeling isolated socially, and somebody causing harm to themselves? So, Benedict, you could go first.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a very good question. I think uh, online harassment has really contributed to the self harm and an increment actually in the cases of depression. Uh, and so so I use Twitter, and sometimes you see the kind of treatment someone or the kind of comments that one receives when they post something. So maybe something might be very serious, but then people joke around until the next time you hear is the person is gone. So for cyberbullying and emotional distress, I feel like this causes some if you are attacked, if you get these constant online attacks. For example, we have a case of the current president and all the attacks that he gets, and you see, you just bring them on a normal individual who has no title. He's just a person. Just and then if such things are redirected to them, they can put that person in a situation where they'll feel the worthless, like it it will put them into a deep thought of what has they like what problem have they what have they done wrong to actually receive such treatment. And with this, so the victims might be trapped on the social media uh, humiliation 24/7, so making it impossible for them to escape. So with this, a time comes and they feel like, hey, yeah, I've been attacked severally, and I can't do anything with this. So let me just take my life. So that's why you get the constant increment of uh, the cases of suicide, because a lot of people are feeling the heat, and sometimes it's so serious to an extent. For example, if you have a business and start being attacked, you end up losing clients, investors run away from you, and maybe you haven't done anything wrong actually, or maybe you just commented or you just made a comment like a simple one, but then you might end up being attacked and your business troll to an extent that its chances of survival becomes instant. Like you, and this brings you down. So the effect now will come with not actually the online engagement, but the results after the online engagement, because thereafter, or you lose clients, you lose everything, and life will become unbearable, and to an extent, it will push you to taking away your life. You see, and I feel like this has really brought in, I mean, brought an increment of the depression and the self harm. And another thing, what we consume a lot from online, yeah, we might end up comparing ourselves with people who have already made in life. Like, why are they living a good life? What is it that they are doing that I'm not doing? Because you keep on comparing yourself with what other people are doing or what other people are posting online. And so this will make you feel down, because you'll be thinking like, I'm not doing enough for my life, or maybe I'm not serious. Why? While on them maybe they're faking, or they're using that as to advise, I mean, to advertise something, and for you, you're taking it like that's how they live, and in one way or the other, you start becoming uh, you start pushing yourself harder to, I mean, making sure that you achieve whatever the other person has achieved. And I think in one way or the other, it becomes something that you end up feeling worthless. And in an event of such a situation, you end up either killing yourself or dissociating yourself from other people. Yes.
Thank you, Benedict. Abigail, you could add on to something about the same. Maybe talk to us about how there's a link between the real world consequences of not of online harassment and somebody being maybe being in a position of harming themselves, being depressed. Yeah, you can add on to that.
All right. I feel like Benedict has sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I was talking about the real world consequences. When Benedict mentioned about the drop in sales of a business, it reminded me of an instance of, though this isn't really a negative consequence, it is more of a positive, but it also had negative consequences on the business where in 2023 there was a certain viral case in Kericho County of a person who sexually harassed the juniors that were under him. He worked in a certain prominent tea farm in Kericho, and it was broadcasted on BBC, so the whole world got to see it. And as a result, in as much as this was just the actions of a single man that was affiliated with the specific company, the sales really dropped because most of the people that bought tea from that specific farm started pulling out. And it's actually a really big farm that has its customer base is more than just Africa. It has a customer base in the UK, in the US. So most of the clients started pulling out because of the negative connotation that was now attached to the farm based on this specific person and their individual behaviors that were now exposed on the internet through the BBC. And it was put on YouTube. Everyone had access to it, and it really uh, went ahead to defame not just the person but also the associated company. Yeah, so most of the times you'd find your actions would lead up to having consequences on, if be it your own business or be it a business you're affiliated to. Yeah, so it really calls for caution on the things you post, the things you say online, and also the things about your business that you allow to get out. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they should have ensured that that information didn't leak out, but through that it was able to sensitize a lot of people, and also it also brought a lot of people to be able now to get the courage to speak up uh, about the about the sexual harassment that was going on in the specific farm and also neighboring farms. Yeah.
Wow, that was so insightful. Thank you so much. And I believe as we um, operate in our day to day life, even in our workspaces, there are always those professional and economic effects that also come up with not being able to stay. I mean, the effects that come up with not staying safe when using the internet. So maybe to our speakers, what are some of the skills that you think are needed to navigate the digital world safely? And for these skills, how do you think, as techies or just as a parent mwenye is having a child mwenye ako na simu or a teen, how do you think they can be equipped with these skills? So we're going to start with Benedict, and then Abigail will add on to something about the same.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I think I mentioned earlier on the digital literacy. So one of the key skill needed is to actually understand how online platforms work and identify the credible, sources and avoiding misinformation. So they should be able to, distinguish between, an information that is not verified and the verified one to avoid spreading fake news that might end up either uh, bringing in some misinformation, yeah, and making people maybe to make decisions that out of uh, out of not knowing or out of the information that they were fed, but it wasn't an accurate one. So they have to understand how online platforms work. The second one is, I think, cyber security awareness, which is very, very important. One examples that I can give, when so we have these cases where a person comes and says, "Oh, my phone was hacked, or my account was hacked, or this thing, something happened and I've lost my account, or someone has got an illegal access to my account and now they're currently doing this and this and this." So people have to be aware of how bad actually how bad the black hackers are, because once they get access to your accounts or anything, uh, whatever they'll do is very unimaginable. So the thing is, when you log in to any site or any, let's say, any environment, at the end of the day, make sure you log out, because when you don't log out, we normally what we normally do when you create a system, for you to be logged in, you have, or to for you to do some, to be authenticated, you need some access tokens. So sometimes if you don't log out, someone else can come and use the same access tokens that the system has generated for you to do some other actions that will. So it depends with them. If they have, if their plan was to do something that will tarnish your name or something that will bring you down, then that's it. They have the access. So once you log, once you access a site or somewhere else, somewhere where you feel like the information that is here is very sensitive, make sure one has to make sure that they log out, and they even see an alert that they've successfully logged out before they go, because not doing so might give an access to an authorized person and they can mess you. And then the other thing they have to be sure when it comes to cyber security awareness is how they structure their passwords. Yeah. So you have to have a strong password that is has like characters, unique characters, numbers. You have to mix them so that it becomes much easier for any person to crack them. Yeah. And then another one that I've seen mostly, like Google, I've introduced the two-factor authentication, the system. So now you have to make sure that you have a two-factor authentication system, whereby before you log in, an OTP or a one-time password is sent to you, and you have to verify first before you are given the access. So with all these, at least this will ensure that you don't get hacked, or you don't get involved in such as you don't find yourself in such a situation where your information is leaked and everything, because uh, you didn't take the necessary measures. The other the other skill that's very important is digital etiquette. Yeah, how you use internet. Yeah, people have to use them responsibly. I mean, people have to use internet responsibly. Whatever that you post, everything that you do should be responsible, because you take an example. I think in 2013, there was a case for there's a person who was traveling, I think, to South Africa, and I think she was working on one of these biggest companies in America, and this person just posted a Twitter. I mean, she tweeted and they said, I'm going to South Africa, hope I don't get AIDS, something like that. So people reacted, and before this person even got to uh, how I read it, while she was just about to highlight from the I mean plane, everything like she was already fired. But by the time she got to South Africa, she was already fired and everything. She later apologized, but the mess had already been done. So that means whatever you post, just uh, you have to read, like, today I've posted this. How will this information be used in 10 years to come? Because when you get some people or some most of these employers, normally they can do what is the background check, and then some even go to your Twitter handle and they want just to see what kind of a person are we bringing into our company. So in an event that they get whatever that you've been tweeting and everything that you've been posting is not in line with their company's policy, it becomes much difficult for you to get absorbed to that job environment. Another thing is the last one. So as okay, in swap they are a little bit keen, I think, with branding and everything. And before a student is admitted, they normally, in most cases, they normally do what is also background check, because they are very sensitive with their brand. So in an event whereby they find there's something that you said, or there's something that you did in your former school and now you want to be admitted here, they won't admit you, because they feel like whatever that you did uh, in your former school, you can bring it here as well, and it will tarnish their brand. So they're very sensitive. So that's it. So they have to have that digital communication etiquette, so that at least this will actually prevent all these situations where you find yourself in. Yes. Thank you.
You could add something about the same.
And have been touched on by Benedict. I think one thing I would add is now for instances, I feel like there are a lot of measures that are now being put into place to help reduce the risk of um, Okay, can you hear me? Sorry, we had a bit of a technical hitch. Yeah, as I was saying, now of the for the I was talking about something around the two-factor authentication that Benedict mentioned. I think what I would add on top of the things that he mentioned that he said was we would have for now instances where we are exposed to risk and there are no structures to protect our data. Maybe we can try and replicate what the internet at large is incorporating to introduce protection. For now, for example, now taking into account the two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication basically is, in layman's language, is okay. We have seen that you have given us the data that shows that this is actually you, but can we go a step further and prove that this is indeed really you? So that after you have gone through uh, the other authentication procedure is when now they can ascertain that this indeed is you. Sometimes the authentications are even just more than two. So now maybe replicating that in real life, in instances where we would be exposed to risk when maybe through someone asking for our information. There is also another one where someone would open up would pretend to be a certain organization and then they start asking for people to apply, ask as though they are recruiting people. So one big red flag about such organizations is um, they're not even organizations per se, but I would say quote unquote organizations because they are pretending to be they're pretending to be the actual organizations is most of the time the pattern that has been seen with such organizations, they ask you for money, and if they ask you for money in your application, that is one big red flag. So before applying for anything, um, even though there are no red flags, try to have your own two-factor authentication where you would ensure that you would check, yes, this is what I'm receiving. But is there a way that I can check the sources? Is there a way that I can prove that this is actually a credible source? If you have people that can help you confirm that, please go through the required channels to confirm it um, because you may fall prey to that. And again, I will give another story to illustrate the same. There was a time where a certain uh, a certain I don't know if that was a person or it was a whole organized kind of people, but they were pretending to be a certain company called Oriflame. So this company called these people that were pretending to be the actual company, they reached out to someone really close to me and acted as though they are uh, trying to recruit new brand ambassadors for their company, for their organization, and they even sent a whole invoice to show that they have sent the products that is required. They even sent money, but the money that they sent was not the exact amount that was required. But then they said you can use your own money, and then after that you can refund it back. But from the system that they used, I didn't really understand the system that was around that. But the money was kind of held for 3 days before being released. So within those 3 days, they were hoping that the person in question would have seen their quote unquote genuineness and used their own money because they've already shown initiative um, uh, to to be able to deliver what they are saying they're delivering. They have already faked invoices, and the invoices that have been faked even have an attached photo. Uh,
an attached photo of like a box concerning the same. So before sending the money that was required, because the person reached out to me to send the money. But then, because that is a red flag that I have already picked up over the recent patterns of these scammers, I paused for a bit and just made a few calls to people that worked in uh, people that worked in the delivery, delivery companies that I had, confirmed if they had a certain worker named so and so, if they had, what is their procedure and all of that. And through that confirmation, I realized that these people were actually scamming us. So now when I called back and asked, and when I called back and asked if I could meet them physically, then they now started disappearing. When I called again and said that I have a person working in the company that in the to the transport company now that was shipping the things from Oriflame to Kenya, uh, they started now disappearing. They started shacking. And if 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 we had gone through the first channel and so these people are actually appearing genuine, we would have lost a lot of money. We would have lost a lot of money in the process of all of that transaction, close to 100 Gs. And yeah, so I think that is one thing that we can incorporate. No matter the source, try to counter check. Try to check the source if it is really as legit as it may be claiming to be. Even if it is a legit source, make sure you have beyond reasonable doubt that this really is what it is selling itself to be. Yeah.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you. So, we were talking about the skills that are needed to navigate the digital world safely. And Benedict has mentioned that he does, or rather, he had done a course on cybersecurity. So maybe in just few minutes, I think it could be better if you share with our viewers. Maybe there's someone in someone who is listening to us who'd want to learn more about cybersecurity. What are some of the sites, or rather places to learn from, that you could recommend to such a person? Yeah, and if you have the link, you could also share with us in just the next few minutes before we add on to the next thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. Uh, so okay. So for me, I didn't do it online. It was an on-premise thing. So I was working at a place called iLab, and iLab is part of Swapco, but they offer short courses on cybersecurity, software dev. So it was more of attending classes, but we have a lot of resources actually, both I mean online. That is one of the sites that are highly used for cybersec. Okay, so in most cases, what I normally do for cybersecurity, I normally go to YouTube. So I have a list of guys who take who take you through through the I mean the course from the beginning of the course. So they have like modules that you have to attend. So maybe I consolidate a list of them because I can't actually remember all of them, and then I share them as a list that contain all the resources inside. And then I share them as a package. If that's fine.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
Okay, so let me do something.
Yeah, thank you. And we've also had instances where somebody's online reputation has had a impact on their profession or rather career prospects or educational opportunities. So is there anything you'd love to share in the same line? Maybe if you ever had experiences of somebody not being able to be given a job because of a poor online reputation, or rather just an opportunity denied to someone because of a bad online reputation that was caused by them not being able to use the internet safely. You could share.
Okay. Oh, this is on my side, right?
Yeah, we're going to start with you and then Abby will finish.
So okay. I normally go through some articles and some of the cases that has happened. So I have an example of such. Uh, I think in 20, I don't know if it's 2019. So there's this guy, the Kevin Hart, was supposed to, host something related to. I think there's something I'm trying. So what happened was he was bidding for that opportunity, and then earlier on he had tweeted something related to homophobic something, and that really brought in an uproar. Online, and he ended up losing that chance. And then another case that I have is in 2017. I read somewhere it's just like a case study. It's like a case that happened in Harvard University. So there were 10 students who had shared an offensive memes and racist jokes in a private Facebook group. And during that time when they were supposed to be admitted, and it happened that the university checked the background. They did the background check for these students, and they found out that they were involved in such activities like by sharing the offensive memes and plus the jokes, and actually they were not admitted. The chance for admission was taken from them only because of whatever that they had posted. And so from that incident, what I learned from that incident is, despite them commenting in private groups, we had people who took screenshots of such things. Uh, I can just relate it to Kenya. You get it when something happens or someone talks of something. For example, if okay, I don't know if anyone is related to Cairo, but there's a time he texted. He posted and said, "We want like okay." I'm just paraphrasing, but short said he won't give out maybe a pay bill. So someone took a screenshot of that thing. And then when that time came, when he was trying to ask people, for some help from people, and people started sharing those screenshots. You see, so as much as whatever that you do, or what you comment, or whatever you write in Twitter, know that one day it will be used against you. So you see how serious such situations are. So when now you are involved in a situation where now, if these people who are supposed to give you a job are now doing a background check, and whatever that you had commented or whatever that you had written earlier does not really align with their policies, you might end up losing uh, that opportunity. So in short, people have to be responsible in whatever comments they give, in how they interact with internet, because in one way it can either build, or in another way uh, it can destroy your reputation and maybe your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby, is there anything you'd love to share with us on the same?
Thank you, Perez. Um, I don't have a specific illustration that I can use, but one thing that shows me that is actually a thing that happens is when you report when you report something on Instagram, when you report something on Instagram or on WhatsApp, but I've tried it on Instagram. When you do that, it tells you that yes, maybe you report and block. It will tell you yes, we're going to do that, but know that in case anything arises out of this, we will pull back. We will pull back the resources that we have pulled down in the event that it would be needed. So yeah, it goes to show that this, in as much as they are erased on our side, they are not necessarily erased on the side of maybe the service providers of the maybe on Instagram or on Facebook or whichever social media handle that you have erased the data from.
Thank you so much for the insights. That was wonderful. So as we come to a conclusion, to our viewers and to anyone who is part of this live, I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions, so far I have seen a question on how best we are able to help the government enforce cybersecurity. We will answer that in a few, but I'd love to encourage us to just drop your questions on the comment section. If you have any question concerning whatever we are talking about, feel free to ask it on the comment section. So for Abigail and Benedict, there was a question about the best way we are able to help the government enforce cybersecurity. So I'd pass this to Benedict.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, issue with cybersecurity, I think it's a collective thing. It's not only for us, but it involves both parties, the government and us. And how we are going to actually help the government to enforce cybersecurity laws is by us creating the awareness. The public awareness on digital literacy. Conducting the trainings, because many cases happens because many cases take place because a lot of people are not well informed. So it is up to us as citizens to, as much as the government comes with the cybersecurity laws, we have the responsibility of passing that information to those who are not well informed when it comes to tech side, and creating that awareness. So we can even create a cybersecurity workshop for schools or maybe businesses or communities, telling them how sensitive their information is and how they can safeguard the information from legal access, or how they can maybe identify the verified sources of information, and how they can protect themselves against external threats or attack. Another thing that we can help by and help the government to enforce the laws is we have to report these cases. At the end of the day, in case if you experience a cybercrime or an online scam or something, you need to report immediately. We've been having a lot of cases in Eldoret where a lot of people have been scammed. They've been involved in such in situations whereby if they had communicated much earlier, the government could have intervened and possibly prevented such a situation. The other thing, what I really love is when the good, I mean, when the deal is too good, you have to think twice because nobody will come and give you free amount. Oh, so we have these links that are shared online. So you might be sitting and then you see someone has sent you a link from Naivas. If you click, you get some amount. Now with the current uh, economic status, a lot of people will click because they really need that money. And this really, I mean, ends up doing much harm to them, whatever that they anticipated. So in this case, they have to be keen with every link shared. So it is up to the public, I mean, it's up to the citizens to educate these people. If one is is well informed when it comes to tech stuff. I mean, tech stuff. They have to share it by either conducting those workshops, educating them on the impact that phishing has. Phishing is like you sharing a link that maybe once you click, it might expose your data or it might put you in a situation that you never thought of. The last one I'd say is one has to encourage. They have to be taught on when it comes to interacting with most of these sites. Some of the sites involved, they capture your data without your consent, and they end up selling your data to some other third party, and you end up receiving some text adverts, and then you'd be wondering who shared my contacts to these guys. You see, so not all sites have to, when you access a site, make sure that when you access a site, and if it's in the law that there's some of the, laws that have been passed and everything, when maybe if you access a site, make sure that before you log out or before you move to another site, make sure you clear the cache, you do everything so that at least it doesn't serve these sessions, or when you're giving, make sure you are logged in to secure sites. So we have an example. If you can know if this site is secure, or that is it has a secure shell or it doesn't have a secure shell. So in most cases, when these links, the phishing links are sent to you, in most cases they have it's so for the secure site we have HTTPS. So that means this site has a secure shell. So once you log in, everything it's a safe site to visit. And the other ones, they have HTTP. They don't have a secure. So all this information has to be passed to those people who are not well informed, so that to avoid all this. And through this, we'll be helping the government to as well enforce those things by passing that information to the people. Yeah.
Nice
Thank you.
one. Thank you. Thank you. I believe our listeners and our viewers have gotten to get something from that. And as we come to a conclusion of our webinar, I'd love to appreciate all of you for being part of this. And to our speakers, thank you so much for the insights. Thank you to everybody who joined the live. And Tech Kids Africa is hosting a walk on internet safety on the 22nd of February. So if you are part of the listeners here, or rather the viewers, we'd love to extend our welcome to you to come and be part of us as we get to spread and create awareness on using the internet safely and just being safe while navigating through the internet. So thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for the questions, and thank you so much for being part of this. We do not take it for granted. I wish you all a blessed afternoon, and keep on staying safe as you use the internet. Thank you. Bye bye.